Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore.
And Michelle LaVore.
Coming at ya. And man, it's been awesome, right?
It has.
It's been amazing, right? Wow. I mean, our days have been pretty full lately.
They really have.
You want to know the truth? They've gotten like less than a tithe of what's been going on in our lives. It's so funny because a lot of the videos we've been doing like 45 minutes, 57 minutes. I was like, no one's going to watch those videos. No one's going to. One of them's got like 500 views. I'm like, wow. How long did they make it?
I don't know.
It's like, because there's so much. And I'm just like, we cannot possibly put all this stuff in a video.
But
so
we try and give you the meat.
Oh yeah,
everything
for
that
sure,
we get.
for sure,
and,
for sure.
You know, and then some of it is just really God sharing stuff with
just for us,
and so it's like, okay, we don't share that, but it's definitely God just continues to show Himself. And
I tell you what, man, since the inner healing thing I had, what night was that?
That was on the 15th.
On the 15th. How much have I changed?
A lot.
Like, drastically, Dan. Not only have I drastically changed, but God's been showing me this vision. When I first got saved, my life was so different. I was amazed that Jesus was real, first of all. And I was like I was 22 and a half years old and no one ever told me. And I was raised in a supposedly Christian home, whatever, we're not going to go there. But it's just like, I came into a relationship with the Lord and I was like, wow. And I mean, every single day was just amazing. And God was blowing up all these gifts and abilities in me and just like things that He was telling me like what my destiny was and all that right away. I mean, right away. I got into warfare prayer right away. I was seeing demons right away. I mean, all these kind of things were happening. And I feel like God's been using those pictures in that nostalgic sense to show me like where I'm at right now in light of what He did in my heart.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was, like, so just, I don't know. I was a different person, you know? I mean, there was not necessarily anything wrong with me, per se, but I was just different, you know? You know, He had to show up.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I thought it was really cool because that also, it's like God you know how you press the reset button? I felt like God's pressed the restore button.
Yeah.
You know? Because we listened to this Bill Johnson message called "Don't Believe the Lie," which led to a message called "I Want My Knife Back."
Yeah.
And both of us were like, I told the Lord, I want my life back.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I want my life back. And this was after the inner healing thing. I was just like, I want my life back. I want what if I had known you as a kid? What my life had been if I was one of my own kids. Knowing you, growing up, hearing from you at like 4 years old, and you know, just the life that produces, and so I was asking Him that, and I was like, man, that is what I want. And I just feel like the Lord, He was like, I already did that before you asked me. You know, and it's just been really awesome, and it's like God's been using so many pictures to show us where we're at. Jesus said, no man knows the day or hour that He's going to come back. He said, I don't even know. So all these like revelation signs and all this stuff and all that, those are all good, but they're not going to give you the date. No. You know, Jesus isn't coming back on September 23rd because that's already happened. You know what I mean? But it's like Jesus did say that I'm giving you signs to show you that you're on the right track. I'm giving you signs to let you know you are going the right direction, kind of like road signs, you know? And I feel like...
And it is like a road sign in the sense of, like, if you were journeying from one side of the United States to the other, the closer you get, the more signs you're seeing of the place that you're going to. And it's like... And I think that's kind of, you know, as we get closer and closer to the fulfillment of the promise, God's giving us more and more information, more and more, like... visions and things to say, hey, you're almost there. You're almost there.
And they have been abundant.
Yeah.
They've been crazy. I mean, honestly, we don't even know where we're going to go with this video.
Yeah.
Like, what we're going to do. But I think what we want to focus on is the Jericho wall thing.
Yeah.
Right? And you wanted to talk about that,
Yeah, I want to talk about that. We were actually listening to a Lana Vosser word. did a live, but we saw it later.
Which one?
The one she
did
just,
2 of them.
yeah, the last one she did.
Oh, the most recent one?
Yeah, the most recent one. And she was talking about Psalm 121.
Oh, yeah.
And it was...
121.
Yeah.
We're going beyond. Holla.
Yeah. And it was just talking about, like, where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. And it really hit me, and because we had been talking about kind of like the picture of Jericho and how the walls come down. But it just struck me like, wow, this is really what God wants to do in our lives, is that here is this Jericho representing something in your life that is just this stronghold. It is just this big, massive thing in your life that you're praying for breakthrough. And you're praying to overcome. And it's like...
and there's a promised land beyond that. But until that thing gets conquered, until Jericho gets conquered, it's the stronghold protecting the entrance to the land. Until that gets conquered, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And so it just... I guess what really hit me, though, is that this whole time God has really been showing us that it is going to be Him. He is going to be the one that gets us to where we're going to go. It's not going to be anything that we've been doing.
And He's been saying that for months.
Yeah, saying that really almost from the beginning.
From the beginning, yeah, that's true.
And so it was just like, oh my goodness. But I felt like...
And the promise has been purging our character ever since.
Yeah.
Just like Lana Vosser said today.
But I think the significance of it is when the Israelites went into the promised land and they met up with Jericho, and I just felt like it was He wanted the Israelites to know where their help came from.
From the beginning.
From the very start. It's like, where does your help come from? It comes from me, the maker of heaven and earth. And this is how I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to have you do this crazy thing. Instead of raging war against Jericho, you're going to walk around it. For 6 days.
Isn't that typical of a miracle from God? No, seriously, isn't that typical? If you really study the scripture and you look at miracles, what you have to do with the miracle is so small
compared to
5 loaves and 2 fish from a boy's lunch.
Yeah.
Not from a man's lunch.
Yeah.
Because the boy's whole lunch isn't going to satisfy a man.
Yeah.
Right? But Jesus took a boy's lunch. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I just want you guys to walk around. Take a stroll around the park. Jericho Park. Take a stroll. Like, that's it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because I feel like that's what part of the journey for us and those of you who can relate to our journey, and it's your journey as well. I did a video before about God just wants you to lay on the table. It's time for you to lay on the table. I did a video called Time to Lay on the Table. And that was God saying, there's nothing you're going to do. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you're going to do. It's going to be this little thing,
Yeah. And so, and for us too, it's been like the worshiping, like that's been a constant since we started this journey. Mm-hmm. And, but, so they walk around the walls, 6 times or, for 6 days. And then
once a day for 6 days.
And then that 7th day, they walk around it 7 times. And that last time is that they give that shout, that victory shout.
Trumpet,
and what was interesting that we didn't realize until today was that the walls of Jericho, they basically just fell flat.
Thanks to Gisette Treasure.
Yeah, thanks.
She sent us this link to that video, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That talked about that lady. She just talked about how the wall fell flat.
Yeah. And so then it made me think about David and Goliath. Like Goliath, when he got hit with the stone, he fell flat on his face. Mm-hmm. And then we were also thinking about
the Ark of the Covenant, when the Philistines took it into the Temple of Dagon.
And then they came in and their statue fell flat forward. And we were like, whoa, like all of these things are basically bowing down
and then with
to God.
Yeah. And then with the Dagon, they tipped him back up. Uh-huh. And then when they came back the next day, he would fall in flat again, but his head was cut off and his hands. Yeah. Meaning he's not going to hear and he's not going to be able to do anything. Yeah. Because hands represent I'm doing something. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be able to do anything and he's not going to be able to see you or hear you. He's not real. Yeah.
And so it was just...
You get to bow down to the Word. Because that's what was basically in the Ark was the Word of God,
And so it was just kind of, you know, God giving us all this revelation. But I think just for me, it was, you know, where does our help come from? It comes from God. And so it's going to be God that's going to take down the walls of Jericho for them to bow down before him.
Yeah. And there's the bowing down aspect, but I also saw it was like an open door. Mm-hmm. He was opening a door that only he could open.
Yeah.
No one could do that. And even if they somehow could do it, they'd be lobbing so many rocks at that wall to tear it down, and it would take months. But God was like, raise up a shout of victory and praise. Boom. Mm-hmm. You know? And I thought, wow, that's been an issue. I mean, not an issue. It's been a theme throughout our journeys. Like, God's going to open a door. We've been standing at the feast door. You know, that thing. And another thing, a little side note, I realized that some of these visions that I get are actually prophetic visions.
Yeah.
Meaning, God's not giving me a vision of what's going on now. He's giving me a vision of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? And, of course, some of the things that I've already mentioned about, like, when I got saved and how God's using those elements to remind me, he's using that to tell me what's going on right now. But like the lawyer's vision that I had about me sitting in the lawyer's office waiting to see what I'm going to inherit, like that's happening like now, or there's a measure of that happening now.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't inherited anything yet, but it's like I feel like a lot of these visions that got you want to prophesy? You want to say something? So I feel like a lot of these visions, a lot of the visions from my past, from this whole journey, are really coming to a focal point, you know?
And I also wanted to bring up something you brought up when we had been talking about the Bill Johnson's video, Don't Believe the Lie.
Sure.
And I really highly suggest you guys watch that.
We'll link it.
It's really good. But he was talking about, like, Sing, O Barren One. And
Isaiah 54.
Yeah. But I think also going along with the Don't Believe the Lie, and you brought up, you know, why was it that God basically told the Israelites they were not allowed to say a word while they were marching around?
Yeah.
And it was
just my own opinion.
Yeah, and it was probably because God wanted to protect their faith. You know, had one person even just started, I don't know, I don't see anything happening, and it could have gone through the, you know, that whole idea of like a little like leaven in the bread
leavens the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's like
a root of bitterness defiles many. Yeah.
So it's like, had even just one person been like, I don't know, nothing's gonna happen of this, that it would have spread. Like, well, you know, it
because
could have
their
spread,
parents did not get in because they were grumblers and complainers.
Yeah.
They're literally the next generation.
Yeah.
They're the offspring of whiners and complainers.
Yeah.
So God was like, don't say a word. Now, they might have been whining and grumbling in the camp late at night. Like, I don't understand. I don't get this. This is weird. This is strange. He's just saying amen to everything. Yeah. But it's like, as long as they were obedient, when God said, okay, now this is the time, Joshua was like, all right, let's march around. No one say anything. They didn't say anything. Yeah. They were obedient when it counted. Yeah. And of course, it always counts in the Lord. Yeah. He said amen.
Yeah. But I thought for me that was a really good thing as far as like, you know, because sometimes even last night, early evening, I was dealing with a time issue once again. and that really is something that maybe even for other people, it's like I feel like I'm always constantly looking for the day that everything's going to take place. And so it's
you're working the numbers,
and I'm working the numbers, and it's like,
numbers,
ooh, like what about
the
this?
Date here, this happened here,
and
so
it's like
10 days from now, ooh, that's going to happen. This is
but then
do that.
Literally every single time
100%
without fail, I've been wrong as far as when I think
100% without fail, you failed.
But what happens is then it's like it starts to make you despair, And it's like...
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. And it starts sending you into this place that just is not good. And And
it's hard to come back from.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right. I am throwing out the timetable. And it's just, I am believing that God is going to do that. And it's like, yes, we can tell in our season like that God is moving. Things are starting to change in like the spirit and things like that. But to not say, well, it's going to happen on this day, or if it doesn't happen by this day, or if it, and because it really, putting the time on it can actually hinder your faith. As well as, I think sometimes there really are moments where even if we might be doubting, it's almost better to not say anything.
Yeah.
And
I almost feel like I'm sitting here and I'm reminded of a really ancient comment I got from Violet Storm 117. And she said that at the end of it all, once it all actually happens, it's going to be like walking into your house and everyone's yelling, surprise! That's kind of like how I feel like it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's like God is obviously preparing something and he's doing something, he's working behind the scenes, but it's obviously going to be a surprise because he's not telling us all the details. I mean, he's told us quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, maybe we know like what he's doing, the elements of what he's doing, but it's like, I guarantee he hasn't told us everything.
No.
And
obviously.
And when it's going to happen probably will be a surprise. Let me tell you something. I've been just trying to work on the anger thing, trying to not be angry, because I'm trying to do it. For years. And it's like, I just wasn't getting much traction. And then God steps in suddenly, unexpectedly, surprise.
Yeah.
And I am just like, I just experienced a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy. And there was a couple other things that have happened recently that were just like, oh, all of a sudden, surprise, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Where did that come from?
And it's like, you don't have to worry about when it's going to happen. Is God true? We had an issue with
I was just going to bring that up too.
Go ahead.
It was such a perfect example
it really was.
of the time thing, because it was getting like, it was about
our daughter loves cinnamon rolls.
Yeah,
and I went to get these cinnamon rolls.
Like the little mini cinnamon rolls, and
she loves them.
And so when Devin went to the store, she was like, Mom, can we have some? And I was like, well, we'll decide. We'll see how tonight goes, and we'll decide if you're going to get one tonight.
You didn't say no.
I didn't say no. I didn't say yes. I was just like, we'll decide. And so then when Devin got home, he was like, okay. He said, yes, you will get a cinnamon roll tonight.
Because you were on the computer doing some stuff. Yeah, and I was doing
some stuff.
I think you were actually answering comments.
I was. And
listening to some worship songs or something.
And so then it was time to get ready for bed before our God time. And so
it was 6:45.
It was 6:45, and so we're like, all right, go get, your pajamas on and everything. And she was just...
She was deeply sad to the point of she was about to cry.
She was, and we were like...
And I was like, Annalise, what's wrong, babe?
And at first she was like...
She was like,
nothing.
I don't want to bug you. And I'm like, bug us. And I knew right then, I was like, I knew what it was about. And I was like, but go ahead. I'm stealing your thunder once again.
So she was just, but I mean, she really was. She was about to cry.
She was about to cry.
And we were like, well, what is going on? She's like, well, it's almost, I have to get ready for bed, and then it's going to be God time, and then we won't be able to get any cinnamon rolls.
Her own reasoning kicked in.
Yeah.
She was leaning heavily on her own understanding, completely disregarding anything that we've said.
And then Devin was just like...
She just assumed.
Yeah, Devin was like, well, did Mom say no? And
I was like, no.
No.
I was like, and I told you, yes, you would get one, right?
And she was like,
yes.
Yes.
So I was like, so why again are you sad?
And then she just had this it was like an epiphany.
Yeah,
she was just like, she started smiling again.
She was just like,
I don't know.
It was hilarious. She was like, yeah, I really don't know why I'm sad. Because, and I said, I was like, you know why? Because you did not believe. You stopped believing that what I told you was true.
Yeah, because of the time factor.
Right.
And for me, that was just
it wasn't happening when she
oh
wanted it.
My gosh, like
well,
that's...
if we're going into God time, we don't eat during God time. I'm totally. It's not going to happen.
There isn't enough time. There isn't. And I just was like, this is exactly so much of the time for me is the biggest issue, because it stops me from believing. Used to be, not anymore. I decided I'm throwing the time stuff away because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Me losing my belief over something that isn't true.
Takes your joy and your peace out the window.
Yeah, and it's not even true.
Yeah, it's not even true.
It's like,
I mean, where did she come up with that?
Yeah.
I think God is doing that. He's sitting up in heaven sometimes. Not really sitting up in heaven. He lives right in here.
Yeah.
And he's just going like, where are you getting this from? You know? And I mean, naturally, he knows where it's coming from.
It's like, did I not say we would go to the other side?
Exactly.
To the disciples, and they're like,
why are you whining to me?
Die.
It's like, come on now.
Yeah, so that was
well, and that kind of ties into another theme that's been working in our lives. And one of the visions that God gave us was, what he gave you was the graduation theme, right? Which is also something we thought we were in, but it's actually not.
It was more
of
a prophetic vision.
A prophetic vision that actually hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Because we just got so many of these visions that are really saying the same thing. Like a lot of Jesus' parables. He was basically saying the same thing through a lot of different pictures.
Yeah.
A lot of different examples and stories.
And
so he might be. And so I felt like the Lord said to me that, like, or he revealed to me, like, we're taking finals right now. And I was like, whoa, okay. Because there was the final piece for me and the final piece for you. And then before that, we had the final test.
Yeah.
You know, oh, we're going to have to feed him or something. We'll be back. Well, so it turns out he was not really sleepy. He just wanted to be in a different position. So anyway, like we were saying, it's like when you're at college, you know, and you're actually getting ready to graduate college, not move on to another level of college, or you're going from freshman to sophomore or something like that. And that's what that 59 is always meant for us, when God would remind us, like, remember, I'm going to a completely different time of your life, like from Psalm 20 to Psalm 21, that type of deal. And I just felt like the Lord was like, we are taking finals right now. And one of the things that I have come to realize is, like, I can't even say how many finals there are to take. You know, because we keep running up against these final things, and they are significant, you know, because like finals in college, they're significant. They're a big deal. They're a big portion of your grade. And of course, naturally after that comes graduation. And then a celebration. So that's another thing that's going on in our life right now.
Well, and that was something that God brought up to us today, was just like, expect the unexpected. But it was kind of, it was fun today. We decided to, because I felt like God was saying for us to, it's like, kind of prepare yourselves to expect the unexpected. And so, like, I was like, okay, well, let's prepare our family to do that. So instead of having naps today, which is why we're doing the video now at night.
Because they didn't take any naps.
But it was like, okay, guys, we're going to do something totally unexpected, and we're going to go, you don't have to take naps. And we walked to the store, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I got to get out. That was probably the first time I've been to a store.
Walked to Walmart, and it was like a trip to Lothlorien for all you Lord of the Rings fans out there.
So that's probably about what we have for you today. And just kind of summarizing, it's like, if you have any Jerichos that are in your life, whatever they may be, it's that just remember that God is the one that is gonna just take down the walls.
He's gonna bow it down.
Man. And you know, and it's like, yes, we have a part to play in it, because the Israelites they had an obedience part that they did. And so, like, God has that in all of our lives. There are certain things, but it's going to be the small portion. God is going to do the great and mighty thing that only he can do. Because when it comes to things that are like Jericho, there's nothing we can do and it has to be God.
Be obedient to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, do what the Lord asks you to do.
Yeah.
Just do that. And sometimes we get tripped up because the thing that God asks us to do is so small.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, why don't you write that person a letter? Like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's all you want me to do? This is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And you just want me to write a letter?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
Or
okay, what else?
Or it's like, well, I just want you to sing and worship.
Yeah.
Or honestly, and really it's very difficult, but it's also an easy thing. It's like, I just want you to only believe. Just believe that I can do what only I can do.
What Jesus told Jairus before he raised his daughter from the dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Just believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so we just pray that you guys would be just supremely encouraged that God is doing some amazing things. I'm telling you what, man, things are happening in our house, in our apartment, really. And and it's just, they're amazing things. And it's just, I'm kind of frustrated, honestly, because I really feel like I get in to do the videos now, the past couple videos, and I'm so frustrated because I'm like, I just feel like I'm not giving you guys much of anything. Because I'm like, Lord, you're doing this amazing thing. And it's like, I guess I want to transfer the emotion and everything. I want to put it on the camera. Yeah. It's like, it is amazing, some of the crazy things that God is doing. And it's like stuff I can't even share right now. And I'm just like, wow. It's like God is doing something. He's moving. His word is true. He is true. Whatever the promise, no matter how crazy it is, you know what? You should make sure your promise is crazy enough. Yeah. Are there parts of seriously? Are there parts of the promise that you've said, well, that's just too much? That you need to get that out.
Yeah.
Seriously, you need to get that out. You need to ask the Lord, say, Lord, restore into my heart the fullness of the promise that you put in there.
Yeah.
You know, all the parts that I edited out because of my unbelief, put back in there, Lord, because you're going to do that and then some. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to do that and then some. The Lord is getting ready to do the most amazing things.
Yeah.
I know it. I just know it in the spirit, not because he's necessarily told me what he's going to do. I mean, he has given me some insight on some of the videos that I've shared in previous times, but it's like I really feel like something is getting ready to happen, you know? I know I did like almost there type videos before, but it's like you only get closer the further along you get. Mm-hmm. And God is giving us visions right now and prophetic information and insight that is showing us, man, that I'm serious.
It's coming.
There's a knock at the door that could be happening like any day.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like any day.
Yeah.
And so I just want to encourage you guys that God has got your back, and your waiting is not in vain.
Yeah.
And He is there, and He is working things out, and He is going to. I mean, that's what I feel like. I got the revelation this morning. Like, oh my gosh, we are really doing the Jericho thing right now.
Yeah.
Because we did the crossover thing, and then we had the covenant time, which was the final test video, right? Mm-hmm. And then I kind of felt like a lull in the spirit until the inner healing thing happened. But even after that, I was super excited. I've been jazzed the whole time, just because the Lord said that He was going to restore my first love joy. And that he did that on the night that He scooped that wound out of my heart. He totally did that. And I'm just like, and that's why He's been giving me pictures of like when I first came to know the Lord and all that. But I felt like also like, well, what about like, didn't we cross over on the 9th, 10th, and 11th? What's up with that? Mm-hmm. Are we in the promised land or what's going on? I don't understand. And then the Lord tells me about the finals, where you're taking the finals, and I realize that's Jericho. Why? Because something we forgot to mention with the Jericho thing was I came to a point where I was like, Lord, I'm setting aside every prayer I have, every prayer I have, and I want revelation on my financial life. My financial future, my financial breakthrough. The very thing that you have to carry me through. Because, who is it? I think her name is Hadassah Esther. She came out with that video, it's time for you to be carried. Mm-hmm. It's time for you to be carried. She's awesome lady. And I've never seen any other video of hers except for that one. And I really felt like that wasn't for me. But then recently I was like, oh my gosh, that is for us. Mm-hmm. And I've had a dream yesterday that we haven't talked about. and it was this being carried by the Lord. God's given me a vision of her being carried on his shoulders, and just all this stuff is just, so much stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So much revelation is happening. Buddy, you're like your father.
Yeah.
And so much stuff is happening, and I'm just like, Lord, I want to know about my financial future. I want breakthrough on the financial future. I want on our, because it's the area right now, and where we're at right now actually mimics where I was when I first got saved. You know, I had no income, had no transportation. You know what I mean? And it was like, in order for me to get out of the situation I was in, which was a dark and stormy situation, I had to have a miracle from God. I had to have an open door somewhere else. And it literally happened. I went from the guy who led me to the Lord, let me come and live with him. And it was literally like going from, not literally, but it was like going from the dungeon to the palace. It was like going from the desert to a lush land where I could flourish. And God's been promising us that like crazy, that you're going out of this place and you're going into this land of milk and honey and all that stuff you guys have heard 100 times before. But it was like, I need to know like what's going to happen, because we're in a situation where it's like, you have to move. You have to do something. And it's like, because the only reason I pointed my prayer at this specific issue and only this issue, because Doug Addison was like, hey, if you have an issue of breakthrough that you need, this is what you need to do. And so that's what I did. A couple days after I heard that message. And I was like, this is so true. And I did not realize at the time that was the initiation of us going to our personal Jericho and surrounding it with prayer and word. I mean, on the 18th, that was yesterday. Whoa!
Yeah.
The prayer was intense, man. On the 17th as well, 18th. And it was just like, it was just amazing how much focused prayer we've had on this issue, and the Lord stepped in and was like, yes, what you're praying is good, it's amazing. Because the financial thing for us, I know we talk about it a lot, but it's like, and we're not trying to elicit more offerings. Thank you for offerings, by the way. You guys are amazing. Yes. We've gotten a couple offerings the past couple of days that have just been really, really awesome. It's been great. And we thank you guys. But it's like, that is our issue. That is our, you know, it's like, what is it that's blocking you from getting to your promised land? For you, for other people, it's going to be completely different. For us, it is just strictly an income issue. Yeah. You know, if we had the money, people say, man, your shirts on your website, on your LaVore store are really awesome, and I'm going to get them one day and all that stuff. And I've already had a couple people buy them. It's like, you guys should wear those. It was like, we would wear them if we could afford to buy them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you get on Teespring and you just create the shirt and they buy it, send it right to you. Our friend from Alabama, Ryan, he's got the Believe, Be Confident, Pursue shirt. And it looks awesome. I'm like, man, he's got one of my shirts. I don't even have one. Because seriously, you can't afford it. We can't afford to buy a t-shirt for ourselves. And so we're like, all right, that is our Jericho. You know, for other people, they might have a house and money, and they might have 2-3 cars in the garage and all that stuff. But it's like, we don't have that. And it's like, for us, that is our Jericho. And again, we're not trying to, we're not trying to get that. It's just, that is our Jericho, and it has been. And honestly, it's been for my whole life. So it's like, crossing over for us is like, I didn't realize. See, that's the Lord putting himself on you to do his will when you don't even know the plan. You don't even know that you're actually doing the thing that you want to do. Because a lot of times when I come to the Lord like that, and I'm like, but Lord, okay, listen, we need to talk about this. God's like, yes, awesome. That's awesome. But I think, oh man, I'm probably offending him. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, you're coming in. You know. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been surrounding that issue. And God's like, that's the issue it's going to bow down to you. You know, because, I mean, we got so much stuff in our hearts and God's honestly not let us do it. Even this whole time of putting the PayPal out there and all that, that has really been my help comes from the Lord. Because we never know what's going to come in, when it's going to come in. And sometimes we're like, whoa, okay, Lord, we've got like literally that much money in the bank, and then by the end of the day, we might get a couple offerings. And it's just like, wow. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. And bless it really every single person that's ever, you know.
It has been just, especially in that, it's like learning, like our help really comes from the Lord. And like having that dependence on him. And once again, though, it's just like, that's the area that is, you know, where we're going to see God move.
So it's like whatever your personal Jericho is, it's like God has got your back. Even in those times where you might think you're offending him by approaching him, or you're, I don't know, there's just so many things that our mind and our heart prevent us from doing with the Lord, that the Lord is actually saying, no, do that. Come on, do that thing, man. And it's like, but we don't, because we've been so raised up in a religious mindset. You know, we don't want to get mad at God. I remember when I was like, well, Lord, I'm mad because you did this and did, and it actually opened up a huge door of greater intimacy with me and the Lord. And then I couldn't possibly be mad, because I was like, well, you don't care if I'm mad? That's awesome. I love you. You know? But it's like, whatever your personal Jericho is, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, listen to the Lord, hear from him, and just do what he asks. He's got our backs. He's the one who led us through. He's the one that's leading us. And another thing, you know, I'm just kind of just flowing here. And another thing that I feel like the Lord's been bringing up for us is like, God is a finisher. Yeah. Remember that? That was a huge thing, right? It was like, man, I'm going to finish what I started. You know why? Because that's integrity. Yes. Integrity, the worst employee is the kind that starts a project and they only get like 75% of the way through, and then they're off taking a break. Yeah. And it's like, what? No. You got to finish this thing, you know? And God's like, I am a finisher. Man, would you finish talking? No, I'm just kidding. He smiled at me when I said that. But anyway, so that's another thing. Like, he who began a good work in you will complete it until the day of Christ. But these little works that he's doing here, these stages of life that we go through, he's going to finish those, you know?
All right. So in closing, again.
And in conclusion.
So, but yeah, we just hope that you guys are encouraged, and just once again, whatever your Jericho is, just take it to the Lord. You know, surround it in prayers, and
because the Lord is taking it to your Jericho. You know?
Yeah, and
I just want to give him more. You know, I just want to give him more. You know.
But yeah, so I guess until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Yes.
Bye.
I love you guys. Praying for you. God bless you. God's got your back. Later days.
Yeah.